This exhibition event will be great fun, but it is not a Grand Slam and it shouldn't be viewed as such. These are not the words of a cynical journalist or a disgruntled fan. These are the explosive words of a respected coach from within the very heart of the tennis world, casting a massive shadow of doubt over one of the US Open's most anticipated new spectacles. In an era where sports are constantly fighting for audience attention, tennis has been searching for its next big innovation. For years, organizers have looked for ways to inject new energy to create must-see moments beyond the traditional singles finals. And on the surface, the US Open's new mixed doubles championship looked like a masterstroke. The concept was simple yet brilliant. Take the biggest names from the men's and women's tours, pair them up into electrifying dream teams, offer a massive prize purse, and broadcast it to the world. It was designed to be tennis's version of an all-star game, but with real stakes and Grand Slam prestige on the line. But that dream is now turning into a waking nightmare. The entire event is teetering on the brink of a spectacular collapse before a single ball has even been struck, with its biggest, most bankable stars poised to pull the plug at the last minute. So what is going on? Today, we are diving deep into the chaos that is threatening to derail this brand new competition. Why are modern-day titans like Carlos Alcaraz and Sinner, the two brightest young talents in the men's game, being forced into an impossible choice that could see them withdraw? How has a disastrous, almost unbelievable scheduling decision from the tennis authorities created a logistical nightmare for the world's best players, pushing them to their physical and mental limits? And we'll unpack the stunning, unfiltered accusation from a top coach that this so-called Grand Slam is nothing more than a glorified exhibition, a publicity stunt that many of its headline acts have no real intention of playing. Let's get into it. Imagine the scene. The lights are on, the crowd is roaring in Cincinnati at a marquee ATP Masters 1000 event. It's Monday, a day usually reserved for rest, recovery, and travel for tennis players. But this year, because of an extended tournament format, it's finals day. And on the court, we could be witnessing another legendary battle, a gladiatorial contest between the Spanish phenom Carlos Alcaraz and the Italian powerhouse Sinner. It's a rivalry that is already defining a generation of tennis. Every point is a war of attrition. Every shot is fired with lethal intent. Every muscle in their bodies is screaming. Anyone who witnessed their 5-hour and 15-minute epic in the 2022 US Open quarterfinals knows exactly what this rivalry entails. That match, which finished at a record-late 2:50 a.m. New York time, was not just tennis, it was a brutal test of human endurance. It was a showcase of the modern game pushed to its absolute physical limits. Blistering serves, baseline rallies that felt like sprints, and impossible defensive gets that left both players gasping for air. This is the standard they set every single time they play. To recover from such a monumental effort takes days, not hours. The body needs time to repair the microscopic tears in the muscles, to flush out the lactic acid, and to replenish its energy stores. The mind, too, needs to decompress from the intense focus and adrenaline. To ask these athletes to go through that kind of war on a Monday and then step back into a competitive environment on a Wednesday isn't just optimistic, it's borderline negligent. After leaving every single ounce of their energy and soul on that court, what happens next in this brutal schedule? A quick shower, a rushed press conference with the world's media, a handful of sponsor obligations, and then a mad dash to the airport for a flight to New York. Why the rush? Because in less than 48 hours, potentially even sooner, these same two warriors are scheduled to be back on a different court at Flushing Meadows, ready to compete in the brand new high-stakes US Open Mixed Doubles Championship. Does that sound sustainable? Or does it sound like a recipe for injury, for burnout, and for a flurry of last-minute withdrawals that will leave fans feeling cheated? This is the stark, unforgiving reality facing the biggest names in tennis right now, and it's threatening to turn this dream event into a complete and utter fiasco. The problem stems from the new, extended format of the major tournaments leading up to the US Open. Both the men's and women's events in Canada and Cincinnati have been stretched out over nearly 2 weeks, disrupting the traditional rhythms of the tennis calendar. This has led to a Monday finish in Cincinnati, the final major tune-up before the US Open. For players who make a deep run and reach the final, the turnaround is simply brutal. After a physically and emotionally draining final on a Monday, they are expected to be physically peaked and mentally sharp for a new event in a new city that starts as early as Wednesday. It's an almost impossible ask, and it forces them to make a difficult choice: prioritize their health and their singles campaign at the final Grand Slam of the year, or honor their commitment to this new mixed doubles event. Carlos Alcaraz is slated to play with Grand Slam champion Emma Raducanu, a pairing that has fans buzzing with excitement. Sinner is scheduled to compete with rising American star Emma Navarro. But if we are treated to another epic between Alcaraz and Sinner in that Cincinnati final, the risk of injury would be enormous. And with the main draw of the US Open singles just days away, their primary focus will, and should, be on being 100% ready for that. Add in the potential for a rain delay in Cincinnati, a common occurrence, and the situation becomes even more complicated, potentially forcing their hand and ending the debate before it even begins. It's not just the men who are caught in this scheduling vice. The world number one, Iga Swiatek, is also on a deep run in Cincinnati. If she reaches the final, she faces the exact same punishing turnaround. It's a testament to how fraught the situation is that other top players are already voting with their feet. Take the American superstar Coco Gauff. She has opted out of the lucrative mixed doubles event entirely, prioritizing her preparation for the US Open singles. Her explanation offers a fascinating and brutally honest look behind the curtain at the life of a top athlete. She revealed, "For me, it was just because I know the free week of the US Open is already packed for me, for sponsor things, and it was just like a whole other thing." This peels back the layer of what we see on court and exposes the complex business that is modern professional tennis. A top player's life during a Grand Slam isn't just about practicing and playing matches. It's a meticulously planned, high-pressure operation filled with media duties and crucial sponsor commitments that are often planned a year or more in advance. Adding another tournament, another set of obligations, into that packed schedule was simply not feasible for her. It's a fascinating and important reminder of the immense off-court pressures these players are under. If you appreciate getting that kind of honest, behind-the-scenes insight, do me a favor and hit that like button right now. It really helps the channel. But Gauff's reasoning goes even deeper, and it touches upon the psychology of a champion. She continued, "And I'm very competitive. If I were to lose, I would not be happy, so I didn't want to waste mental energy on that." This is a crucial point. For a player like Coco Gauff, there is no such thing as a casual hit-around. If she steps on the court, she is there to win. And competing to win requires an immense amount of precious mental and emotional energy. With the biggest tournament of the American summer on the horizon, she decided that she couldn't afford to expend that energy on a secondary event, no matter how exciting or lucrative it might be. It was a calculated, professional decision to protect her primary goal: winning the US Open singles title. And Gauff's decision shines a spotlight on a much larger, simmering issue within the sport: the relentless, year-round grind of the professional tennis tour. Unlike other major sports that have distinct off-seasons, tennis is a near 52-week-a-year traveling circus. Players crisscross the globe, constantly battling jet lag, adjusting to different climates, surfaces, and time zones. The ATP and WTA tours have been adding more mandatory events and extending the length of existing ones, like these Masters 1000 tournaments, in a bid to create more content and generate more revenue. But this expansion comes at a direct cost to the players, who are being pushed to their breaking points. The rate of injuries among top players has been a growing concern for years, and the conversation around mental health has highlighted the immense psychological toll of the tour. This scheduling fiasco around the US Open mixed doubles isn't an isolated incident. It's a symptom of a system that is increasingly prioritizing quantity over the quality of its product and the well-being of its athletes. This pragmatic, self-preserving attitude is likely shared by many other top players, which brings us to the most damning criticism of this new event. It comes from Barry Fulcher, the respected coach of Wimbledon doubles champion Julian Cash. In an interview with Tennis 365, he didn't mince words, and his assessment is a potential bombshell for the tournament organizers. He declared, "This exhibition event will be great fun, but it is not a Grand Slam, and it shouldn't be viewed as such. It's not just about the prize money, and more about removing a mixed doubles Grand Slam opportunity. This is a critical distinction. The traditional mixed doubles draw at a Grand Slam is an open competition. It provides a life-changing opportunity for doubles specialists and lower-ranked singles players to compete for a major title. This new format, however, is an invitational, a closed shop curated for maximum star power. Fulcher's fear is that this glitzy, celebrity-driven event could overshadow and perhaps one day even replace the traditional draw. If that happens, it would slam the door shut on dozens of deserving professional players." He then delivered the most telling prediction of all, saying, "My own personal view, it is all just posturing at the moment, and I will be fascinated to see how many of those 16 pairings that were announced a few weeks ago will turn up and play. I'd be very, very surprised if a lot of those pairs end up taking to the court." He believes the initial announcement, with all its star power, was a strategic move to generate buzz, a marketing ploy. He suggests that players have put their names down with no firm obligation to play, giving them an easy out if their schedules get too tight. It's a shocking claim that questions the very integrity of the event's promotion. Just listen to the incredible list of teams the US Open announced, the pairings that are supposedly locked in. In addition to Alcaraz and Raducanu, and Sinner and Navarro, we have a jaw-dropping lineup. Through direct entry, Paula Badosa and Jack Draper, Iga Swiatek and Casper Ruud, Elena Rybakina and Taylor Fritz, Amanda Anisimova and Holger Rune, Belinda Bencic and Alexander Zverev, Jessica Pegula and Tommy Paul, and the sensational young talent Mira Andreeva with Daniil Medvedev. And the wildcards are even more spectacular. Madison Keys and Francis Tiafoe, Taylor Townsend and Ben Shelton, the legendary Venus Williams with Riley Opelka, and the blockbuster pairing of Olga Danilovic and Novak Djokovic. This lineup is a fantasy draft come to life. It's a collection of champions, legends, and the brightest rising stars in the sport. It's a lineup designed to sell tickets and capture the world's attention. But according to Coach Fulcher, it might be little more than a mirage. The stage is set for a dramatic showdown, but it might not be the one on the tennis court. It's a battle behind the scenes, the grueling, unforgiving schedule versus the physical limits of the athletes. The promise of a glamorous new event versus the pragmatism of players protecting their careers. The hype of a star-studded lineup versus the high probability of a mass exodus. Will we see these dream teams in action? Or will the inaugural US Open Mixed Doubles Championship be remembered as the great event that never truly was? Ultimately, the fate of this event rests on a knife's edge. We could witness a best-case scenario where the Cincinnati finalists get early round losses, allowing them to recover and play in New York. The stars align, the dream teams take the court, the fans are thrilled, and a new, exciting chapter in tennis history is written. Or we could see the much more likely chaotic scenario, a domino effect of withdrawals. Alcaraz pulls out, citing exhaustion. Sinner follows suit. Suddenly, the event is stripped of its biggest headliners, the organizers are left scrambling, and the whole affair starts to look less like a Grand Slam and more like a disorganized exhibition. The fallout from such a collapse would be significant, a major embarrassment for the US Open, and a stark warning to tennis's governing bodies that they cannot continue to treat their athletes like inexhaustible machines. The line between ambitious innovation and reckless overreach is a fine one, and it seems professional tennis is about to find out exactly where it lies. To make sure you stay on top of this story and get all the latest updates, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We'll be following every twist and turn as the US Open approaches.